Welcome back and thanks for joining me for the Raw Vegan Common Struggles video number 4 in this playlist series, which I will link below in the description box, as well as the link for the Raw Vegan Bundle, which is going on right now. Over $1,700 worth of goodies, 35 contributors, all brand new stuff. Be sure to check that out. That'll be linked below. And let's get into this video. Welcome back for another video to Recalibrate with Nate. And in this fourth video on the Raw Vegan Common Struggles playlist, I wanted to talk about something that could plague all of us. Does not matter. Most of these things, it really doesn't matter what you eat. This can affect everybody. So this can definitely be a common struggle, like I said, for multiple people. Doesn't matter what kind of diet you follow, but it's really time, prepping, and planning. I guess maybe it wouldn't be in that order. You'd plan first, right? You'd get the time set aside from the plan that you make, and then you'd do the prep work. So that's really important though, right? Planning, having a plan, like what am I gonna have at breakfast time? You're thinking like, what do I wanna have for lunch and dinner today? Or maybe you're thinking about it the night before, which is really beneficial to have figured out what you're gonna eat the next day, the night before. So that would be planning. And once you've made the plan, then you can map out time that you're going to be spending on that particular duty, right? So when it comes down to making a smoothie, you know that like, okay, that's gonna take me about 8 minutes in the morning. I gotta make sure that I make time to make the smoothie in the morning. And then of course, lunch, is going to give me, I wanna prepare my lunch. So to prep up my lunch is gonna take me another 15 minutes. And of course, the more you do this, you'd have it figured out. You're like, that's 15 minutes to make a salad and a dressing, and there's your lunch, right? And maybe there's a couple things that you need to get ready for dinner. Maybe you need to soak some more mung beans before you take off for work or whatever you do all day long. So that way 8 hours, 10 hours later, those mung beans are ready to eat in your food that night. That's what's so cool with sprouts. Certain sprouts like, lentils, mung beans, they're pretty much edible after, 8 to 10 hours worth of soaking. I like to let them go overnight and an entire next day. I think that's like the perfect consistency. But either way, this is all takes a little time, it takes a little planning, and then of course doing the prep work. Now of course, no matter what is going on in life, right? To be successful, we have to take these 3 things into consideration. We have to make the time to get the exercise in, make the time to take the walk, right? Plan to take the walk, take the time to take it, and of course, maybe we're preparing certain things for that walk. If we're taking a walk or a hike, we're getting our backpack ready. These sorts of things are really, really important. And this is going to be, no matter what it comes down to, building a bridge, right? They're planning, they're preparing, they're setting a time aside for how long it's going to take to build the bridge. These sorts of things are important in so many aspects of our life. So the first thing would be, talking about building a bridge or taking a hike. That's a reason, like to plan, to prep, right? So having a reason, finding a reason, why is it that you want to set this goal to eat healthy today, right? Take it one day at a time, right? And that's really what it comes down to. You find the reason, set the goal, put it into action. Now, one thing that could be really helpful, if you are into journaling, writing things down, would be to have like a proactive food journal. To write down a little bit of what you had today. How much water did you drink? Did you drink your smoothie? Did you use your fruit? What kind of salad did you have? Did you like that salad? Is that going to be one of your fallback salads because it was so fast and easy and delicious to make? These sorts of things are really important to journal. These sorts of things I wish I really would have done more so in the beginning of my raw vegan diet. When I started this diet back in 2017, I really wish that I would have wrote stuff down, how I was feeling, because it's kind of hard to recall about different struggles that maybe I had gone into and dealt with. I didn't write stuff down. So, and it really can be helpful with just noticing how you're feeling and what's really working and what's not working. So that could be something that you could implement as well as do a little journaling. Now, of course, from that journaling, it can be nice to see, how long it took you to do certain things if you're writing these certain things down. So that way you can schedule and you can plan even more efficiently. Because a lot of people really want to do this, but they skip this step. This is a really important step. Figuring out how much time it's going to take planning what you need to get at the store, and then doing the prep work, prepping up, making a little extra, chopping a little extra, making a little extra dressing, right? These sorts of things can be really, really helpful. And if you store your dressings or whatever your, maybe your juice or your smoothie under vacuum, that can be a really helpful thing as well. And in my Raw Vegan Essentials course, I cover pretty deeply about how to vacuum seal your jars, which is a vacuum sealable mason jar lid. And this will help your dressings or your smoothies or your juices stay fresher longer because there's no oxygen in the jar. So that can be really, really helpful in a lot of ways. Another thing to take into consideration would be setting this mindset up that you're spending time with yourself, right? This is time for you and you alone with what it is that you're creating, with what it is that you're preparing to feed yourself. This is the way you're fueling your body. So it's a good time with yourself. And that could be a real liberating feeling in a lot of ways. Maybe you have favorite music that you like to listen to while you're preparing some stuff in the kitchen. If you make it fun, that can be really, really helpful in a lot of ways. And then it can become kind of like a new habit, right? You put that favorite song on, and it's time to get, it's dinner time, so you're making dinner, but it's also time to chop a little extra so the next day you've got lunch ready to go, right? Or in the morning time when you're making your smoothie, you're starting your sprouts, right? Or like I said, it's best to soak overnight. So if you start sprouting at dinner, that'd be a great habit. That's a lot of times what we do is we'll just soak our lentils or our mung beans or cabbage or radish or broccoli or whatever it is we're gonna be sprouting. We'll soak it the night before. That way the next morning when we're making our smoothie or having our breakfast before our walk, we're able to drain those sprouts off, rinse and drain them and set them on the rack. And then by the evening time of that next day, basically 24 hours, they're ready to add into our food. So these sorts of things, it just becomes kind of it's a new habit. But of course, these are the things that really make the big difference. And it doesn't take a lot of time, but the time that it does take, say if you are preparing something a bit more fancy, maybe you're chopping up a bunch of stuff, maybe you're making salads for more than one person, or some hand salads, some wraps for some people. Maybe it takes a little more time, but that time is just for you and you alone. Unless of course you've got somebody in the kitchen that you enjoy being with, it can be quality time for the two of you to be in the kitchen together. And what's cool with some of the recipes that are in the Raw Vegan Bundle is they require a dehydrator, right? So if you have a dehydrator, a lot of times preparing stuff for a dehydrating process, it only takes maybe 5 to 15 minutes at most to prep it up and get it on the tray and slide it in the dehydrator. And then you're basically just waiting, depending on the time, like anywhere from 4 hours to, or it could be less than that, all the way up to, very possibly like 14 hours or more, right? So it just really depends. But that also is a part of planning. You have to understand, like, okay, if I want to make this particular wrap, best to start the wrap the night before. That way it dehydrates through the night. The next morning it's ready. I can roll it and get it ready for my lunch, right? But if you don't plan, the next day you wake up, it's time to make your smoothie and you're like, man, I really want a wrap today, but you didn't make a wrap the night before. So, of course it can be a little tricky, but this is what's cool about this particular diet is what's gone into your food. That it is definitely going to be a lot better than if you were to be buying something that is pre-made and processed. It's definitely more, very possibly more convenient in a lot of ways, but it's in the long run, it's not going to serve you in the best way because obviously you're here and you want to figure out how to eat fresher, more raw foods. And, I commend you for that. So, take that in consideration. Planning is so huge. Planning is just everything in so many ways. And from that plan, you make the time to do the prep work. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. So anyways, that's all I've got for you on this video. Add to it down below. What is it that you do to plan and prepare for a trip or an outing with some family, or your everyday life? Is there some tricks that you use? Because of course we can all help each other when we're sharing some of that in the comments. Be sure to like the video if you like this video, and feel free to subscribe if you're called to do so. And be sure to check out that raw vegan bundle. Man, it is amazing. There is so much good stuff in this one. I really do love several of the items that are in there. I'm excited myself to dig in. I still haven't gone through every single thing, but there's been several of the things that I have gone into. We've been implementing the new recipes and eating, just new stuff that we're not used to eating every day. Of course, it's all raw food. It's delicious, but it's just prepared in a different way. There's a different flavor there. Like we had this dressing today for lunch. It was so good. And I'm like, this is gonna be a new staple. This is delicious. So be sure to check that out. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the day. And we'll see you on the next one. Love you.